Hello from across the pond here. I would say sunny England, but not only is it dark outside, it's not sunny even when it isn't. But I'll tell you that I've slept about 4 hours a night for the last 3 nights because jet lag is a thing. And played all day today at D&D in the castle. So I'm 1 foot into the next world, but guess what? My other foot is right here with you. So thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you for voting in Idle Champions. And as always, we acknowledge that the stakes are high. Thanks in no small part to those votes, but we do ask that you be respectful, no backseating. Again, sometimes a person may do something that you think is non-optimal. Sometimes they just make a mistake. Sometimes they've got a reason. Sometimes I may have asked them to. So just relax. Don't give anybody a hard time. Enjoy the show. As always, we do have the vote results for what happened here, but I would ask if you not to post the votes in chat, because if you don't know by now, it's a surprise, and you'll get to see what happened. And if you do know, that's cool too. Unfortunately, Gina's not with us today, as you can see, so as such, the vote for Jang Sao's vision, we can't exactly resolve without her. So we will roll that to next week, but she will get a visit from the person who won the vote. See that? See what I did there? You think I was about to say what it was, but I didn't, because like I said, no spoilers, but it'll happen next week. The stream code for today is ICP6 Bro Uriah, which again, as a verbal component for a spell, is IP6 Bro Ria. Bro Ria should be your next character, by the way.
Bro Ria sounds like something you don't want.
They got a vaccine for Bro Ria.
Is that just when you drink too much Monster and eat too many Doritos?
Yeah. That is true. You definitely get Bro Ria.
to be avoided.
Taco Bell. But the reward for the ICP6 Bro Uriah stream code is 1 gold Uriah chest, which expires November 13th at 9 a.m. Pacific. We also have our gargantuan giveaway, which I need you to know they write in large caps and it's bright red on this sheet. Because again, we all know what I am. We know that I'm going to forget something important that I'm not supposed to tell you now, but it's going to happen at the break. That happens every time at the break, and I always forget to tell you. But today, it's going to be different this time.
I actually have a note to remind you, B-Dave.
You know, please do. But for now, in the U.S. and Canada, our giveaway is the D&D Icons of the Realm Seas and Shores bundle, which includes D&D Icons of the Realm Seas and Shores Booster Brick and D&D Icons of the Realm Seas and Shores Maw of Sekolah. Quebec is unfortunately and surprisingly excluded from this giveaway, but you can use code ICP20 at dndmini.com for 20% off your next order, excluding foam and life-size replicas. Thank you, WizKids, which expires November 22nd. For our international giveaway, we have the Idle Champions Phenomenal Fatebreaker Factions Collection, which is a whole bunch of stuff, so allow me to take a deep breath. We have a Harmonium Thellora theme pack, Factions of Sickle bundle, Hands of Havoc Widdle, and Society of Sensation Kent skin and feet pack. We have Venture Casual Certainty theme pack. We have a Venture Casual Cathris and Venture Casual Donar skin and feet pack. Spelljammer Celeste skin and feet pack. Minute the Marut, Psyche the Pseudo Dragon, Flicket the Beetle, and Boom Boom the Tavern Keep familiar packs. Note this prize cannot be split up and is non-transferable. Make sure you check your whispers when the giveaway closes, and the winners to be announced at the end of this episode. But hopefully someone in Quebec wins this, because, you know, I think you do, honestly. Thank you to our moderator, Jay, for keeping an eye on things. Make sure everybody stays cool. Make sure everything stays chill. Now, for our heroes. After you were swept up once again in this swirl of cataclysmic white energy here in the Hall of the Giants, as Colseer himself is swinging at you and you destroy the engine and you are swept away. This time, there is only darkness and shadow. And you all find yourself laying on the ground of cold stone, looking up overhead at cloudy skies.
What? What just happened? Well, are we alive still?
Is this where we're supposed to be?
Does everyone have other hands and feet and hooves?
I
I
have
think-
4 limbs. You have 4 limbs. You have 4 limbs. You have 6 limbs. Yes, I think. So, wait, where's Jang Sao?
Oh no. Jang Sao?
Jang?
A moment later, you all hear a familiar voice say, Jang Sao is safe for now, such as it is. And I just wanted to check in with my champions. And you all see the Raven Queen appears. Black gown, feathers, the white porcelain mask, again obscuring her features.
Lady.
Uriah.
Shanks. I don't understand. But I thought we'd all been destroyed, but we were saved by your power?
No, actually, you still are slipping about hither and thither through time and space. I have merely plucked you temporarily, and as you are my champions, someone else has a claim on Jang Sao.
I see.
Oh.
She
Well,
works
then-
for me in her own way. We'll call it a cooperative agreement.
Yes.
All right.
It's-
Well, everyone safe then? We're supposed to be here?
Well, again, I really more wanted to hear from you the state of things. I sent you to help resolve the fate of all space and time, and I was aware of your presence on Sickle, and then you were lost somehow in the prison. And I haven't really been able to find you since.
We were, as you say, unstuck in time itself, it seems. And what's more, we have a disconcerting habit of ending up precisely where we need to be, almost as if some unseen hand is guiding this journey.
Unseen hand. Curious. Thellora, you've made it.
I'm actually surprised that I'm here. And Thellora will stand up because she had sort of been sitting, I guess. Say, I'm sorry, my lady. I'm not 100% sure I've heard of you, but I'm not really sure who you are. Other than the fact that you have lovely big wings.
She looks at you for a moment, and she says, I'm known by many names in many places. Every time you've heard the ravens crowing as you ran through the forest, it was me. I still had my eye on you. And I still watch over the people of your vale, as I know that you do, which is why I chose you for this.
I try. I stand before all of you, and Thellora says this with like this telenovela type drama, as this proud member of the Luma. I'm a warrior centaur, and I have a sword. Have you seen my sword? I just wanted to make sure you've seen it before. I hail
it is
from,
very difficult to miss, yes.
Thank you. And when she puts her sword down, it makes this like whinnying sound, sort of like through the air as she glances it through. My people worship the god of Mount Tora, and her control of a fire demon named Solemnar. For centuries, she has kept him under control. My people and their sentinel, their job is to be ready for the day he returns, because he will return. But there is something I haven't told you, any of you, about me or my people, and I'm not sure that's fair. I'm sure the good lady already knows this. But I believe that my people have known about the existence of the Fatebreaker for a very long time. We just didn't know what it was called, because in my language, it sounds like something you would cook over a griddle with syrup.
Pancakes?
Waffles?
Panna kakere. So yes, you're right.
Panakakere. Yes, I see.
Yes.
Yeah, Panakakea.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Sort of.
Yes.
Hanukkah can.
Panakaken.
Panakakir, put a panakakir fat, a panakakir potato. Anyway, there were two things that my people always spoke of regarding this Fatebreaker. That this dark-winged visitor would be a turning point for us. And with this, she sort of looks at the Raven Queen and then looks over at Nahara too, like, okay. But that also there is another very evil, powerful, godlike entity that wants to get a hold of the Fatebreaker, but not to alter the course of history to benefit himself like Manshoon the wizard is doing, but rather just to create this continuous state of utter chaos, like an episode of The Housewives of Waterdeep.
Oh,
Love that one.
I mean, I don't mean to add more to what we're doing here, but I think that all of us are going to be forced to make the ultimate decision one day.
I see. And this dark entity, this perhaps a god, you said? Do we know its name?
I don't know. I was hoping that one of you might, because it's obviously that. I mean, it's obvious to me that we're the ones that have been chosen to face this fate. Lady, might you know anything about this?
She sort of scratches her head for a moment and she says, Manshoon, you say, has the Fatebreaker.
An archmage, apparently, yes.
Yes. I mean,
Manshoon is dead. Are you sure?
Oh, yes. There was something about
clone.
again, the knowledge clone. Yes, like me, I suppose.
yes. And the Fatebreaker has allowed him to do things that he wouldn't be able to do otherwise, if you think about it.
Yes,
Right?
this other one that you speak of, if the Fatebreaker is such a weapon that allows one to control the past, there's probably no limit to the number of people that would want it or the chaos that could be created with it. Wait. The one that you speak of, have you seen him with your own eyes, Thellora?
I've seen nothing. I mean, I've only seen him in my nightmares, and my people speak of him, and he's been described so many different ways. But they're all formidable, terrible. Some say he breathes fire. Others say he chews ice and spits it out. Some say he's invisible. Others say he's the largest thing you've ever seen.
What sort of monster chews ice?
Oh, I've encountered them.
Very specific.
They're real.
It's a horrible sound.
I feel a little bit called out there. That's not necessary.
Same.
Uriah, I've asked you a question in our side channel here. I apologize. We all are dealing with far fewer screens than we're normally accustomed to. Again, the Raven Queen with her porcelain mask, you can't see her face at all, but she does very much lower her head like someone who's thinking.
Oh, and there's more. Some other, shall we say, powerful entities have made their presence known and certainly have an interest in the goings-on. Some of them have been rather direct in their contact. Two spring to mind in particular, both residents of the Nine Hells, specifically Avernus and Nessus. I am, of course, speaking of the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat, and the Lord of the Nine himself.
What?
Yes.
Oh.
Asmodeus has attempted to intervene.
Yeah.
Has
Yes.
It gets worse. So,
How could it possibly get worse than that?
I may have accidentally made a pact with Asmodeus. I was wondering if
Accidentally.
Yeah. He extended his hand and I took it. I thought he was trying to comfort me, and I did ask for the Fatebreaker. He asked me what I wanted, and I said I wanted the Fatebreaker, but I made the mistake of also asking for something before that.
Widdle. You asked the Lord of the Nine Hells for something. He extended his hand to you, and you thought that was to comfort you.
Yeah, I know it wasn't my brightest moment, but here we are. Have you ever made a pact with someone as evil as Asmodeus before?
I've made pacts with all sorts, actually. Well, here's what I will tell you. Although he cannot be trusted, Widdle, and she comes and she puts her hands on the side of your face. And although the Raven Queen is not very tall, she's still a head taller than you. Widdle, my child, are you listening?
Uh-huh.
You cannot trust Asmodeus. He is a devil, and he will keep his word, but he will twist it and bend it to his advantage, not yours. He is a creature of law, but not a creature of justice. Do you understand that distinction?
Yep, I understand now. He's just so convincing,
Well, he starts talking, and he's got that thing about him that you're like, oh, you're so terrible, but actually not terrible at the same time.
Yeah, like you're actually kind of cool. Like I want to be your friend, but I'm like kind of
like kind of, right? It's like sort of
Yeah.
a bad boy thing that you're like, oh, I shouldn't, but but I should. Yeah, I mean,
I've been
I
bored
heard
in
from
Barovia
other
for like
people.
1,000 years,
Right.
so I was like, hey, this is interesting.
He is definitely interesting.
Hey, so if I get the Fatebreaker, how do you think he's gonna twist it? Because if I get it, I'm gonna try to destroy it. Obviously.
Ooh. Obviously, there's nothing in your history that you'd like to rewrite, Widdle. Obviously. There's nothing in any of your histories that you would like to rewrite. Obviously.
Well, like maybe we'll rewrite a couple of things and then I'll destroy it.
Great. Well, we'll worry about what to do with the Fatebreaker once you have it. Because from what I understand, at least currently, you do not, yes?
No.
No, we don't. We have no idea where to retrieve it. I mean, we know who has it, but we don't know how to take it from him. Them.
Oh. Well, there's a bit more, actually. There's certain things that we apparently are going to do that we have already done because we've encountered the effects of them being done, which is to say, specifically, a halfling gentleman who was dispersed or banished rather to an infinite maze by the Lady of Pain herself.
The tall halfling, the Widdle's friend, Freely. It's
No,
Freely.
not him,
Freely.
not Freely.
Close.
His name
what
was
was his name?
Tasala.
Yes, that was it.
That means nothing. Sorry, Nahara. I think you said something there. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just agreeing. That was it. I was. The name was on the
Was it
tip of my
Tasala?
tongue.
That
I believe
sounds
so.
Tasala. Yes.
Don't know a halfling of that persuasion, but it would seem if there is an action that you are going to take but not taken yet, that you were at least going to live that long. That must be seen as advantageous.
Yes. And the thing is, we didn't know him either, but he knew us, you see. He'd already met us, and we'd helped him. Yes. It's all rather
very
taxing.
confusing.
Yes.
But we didn't just encounter, foes and people who would try to thwart our efforts. I did meet Bahamut.
Yes.
And he
Powerful
did-
beings.
And he did say that he'd be able to intervene at a proper time, so it gives me a little hope at least. I don't know what kind of terms you two are on, she says to the Raven Queen. I don't know if there's any...
I might imagine we have very different priorities outlooks and such, but I would not say that I stand in direct opposition to Bahamut, nor do I necessarily stand in direct opposition to his sister. All eventually find their way to me.
It's true that, well, in your aspect as Ezra, Lady of the Mists, many of your teachings mirror those of the Church of Bahamut. A little more merciful, perhaps. He's rather strict and justice bringing and all that.
As I said, law and justice are not always the same, and justice and mercy are not always the same either.
Yes.
You see, she sort of looks off into the distance for a moment, and she says, I do feel a surge of mystical power searching for you even here. I do not know how long I can provide you, but at least you can have some moment to compare notes with each other, regain your strength before you're swept away to whatever comes next.
You have no idea what's coming next for us? At all. Nothing.
Well, I know you apparently live long enough to rescue a halfling named T'Sala.
Is that?
Hey, Thellora, you mentioned
Yes.
that you saw that dark entity in a nightmare. And
Well, I didn't really see it in a nightmare. It's just that
sort of
my people have shared stories for centuries
Yes.
about this entity that, and I just don't think it's Manchu. I think it's Manchu, but I think there's something else that wants this Fatebreaker, but for a far nefarious purpose.
Is it possible that this entity is what Manshoon eventually becomes? Given the power of the Fatebreaker, it's possible that he, or his clone, rather, I suppose, could elevate himself to godhood.
Then that is who we will be facing. We'll be facing Manchu himself, but this twisted, grotesque version that's got 4 times the power.
It's
Have you
difficult to
met-
say.
Have you met Manshoon? Or this clone of Manshoon?
We've seen him.
Yes.
We've laid our
Where?
eyes upon him. Yes, it was in the tower where we had to destroy the podium, the spellbook. Yes. The original Manshoon. His death was caused, I believe, by a pit fiend impersonating a human. And perhaps the clone was trying to prevent the death of his original? I mean, it's hard for me to say. I'm a clone myself, but I have a rather, shall we say, strained relationship with my progenitors.
An unusual, although most clones probably have strained relationships with their progenitors.
Yes, why would this clone want to save the original? If the original was saved, certainly there would be no need for the clone at all.
And there was no other time that you all laid eyes on this man.
Let's see.
Didn't we was it in the prison?
I think it was in the prison.
Yes, that was him as well,
In-
wasn't it?
In the prison, you all left a message for yourself to run.
Oh, yes, run.
Yes.
When the
Mhm.
Archmage spoke of us in the past tense, and then in the tower, that is when he did speak in the past
Mhm.
tense. And
Yes.
yes,
That's
he
right.
had already encountered us, you see. He had clearly gone back in time to... Oh, no. Perhaps
Coming back in time
perhaps
to
our
kill
doom-
us.
Is our doom preordained then, too?
Because if he was as powerful as you say, then that would make it seem like, just like you all go on to rescue this halfling, that he goes on to win.
Yes, suppose-
Yes.
I suppose it would. Or at least, at that point in his own personal timeline, he thought or thinks he has won.
He thinks he's won. I realize that as a god, you all look to me for strength and wisdom, but I am not omnipotent in this machination with time, with fate. It's beyond even me.
Yes. And then there's the matter of this other unseen hand. As we say, there's many powerful beings involved. Bahamut, Tiamat, Asmodeus, yourself, my lady. And there is some other further unseen force guiding us to where we need to go. I had assumed it must be you, but...
Sadly, it is not. I do not need to claim credit for that which is not by my own hand. I feel I have done a boon for all life everywhere by choosing you champions.
Oh, thank you.
You have always made me proud, Uriah.
Oh, it's very nice to hear one's deity say nice things about you.
And you too, Nahara, for the record.
Thank you.
There are not many people whose face I have borrowed on occasion.
I'm flattered. A little strange, but flattering.
Well, at the time, I wanted him to know that he could trust me, and there's no face that he trusts more than yours, and it's sort of
It's very sweet.
right. At the time, it wasn't clear if he was ever going to be resurrected, so I was sort of, escorting him to his rest, and...
Far be it for me to question your methods. I
can stick with the mask now.
Well, Thellora, in the legends of your people, your world, did you call it the Veil?
Close to. I mean, from what I can pretty much surmise from looking at what I know. I mean, to be honest with you, I hate using the word primitive, but my people can be looked as such because we are so located so far away. To be honest with you, I really looked forward to this because we're so secluded, and every one of my command posts, all of the Luma, one by one, we are all chosen to go on an adventure because the idea is that one by one, if you return, you bring back lessons and abilities and powers and strength and stories for the others, so that when Solemnar does return, and he will, you will have powers and abilities and skills that we could not have taught ourselves from all reaches of the world. So in that way, Forever Reach grows. But this is my story. This is my journey with all of you. So I would like to return and to bring back, my story to my people and be ready for when he returns. But I feel like I'm supposed to bring you with me someday, all of you, and I don't know why.
Interesting. To be honest, speaking of stories, I had always thought that your people were stories, much like dragons, I suppose. But I've met dragons as well, and unicorns, and to learn that centaurs are real as well is, well, it's magnificent.
Must be a place of great wisdom.
Sort of. I mean, we've splintered a lot because of, when the plague happened, my people were forced to flee because of the dragons. The dragons attacked us because we were weakened, and some of us flew to the sea, some of us flew to the mountains where my people are, others to the plains, and we're all very different, and we all sort of speak different dialects. My people, as you know, mostly speak Elvish. We believe in different gods, and we follow different tenets. But for my people, it is the mountain, and it's her protection of my people and her, control of Solemnar for as long as she has. But there have been signs that her strength is weakening, and that's why it's so important that the Luma are able to be as powerful and stand against him when he returns, because when he returns, he has the ability to wipe out more than just the Forever Reach or Caliwood, which is where I'm from. And I have a feeling that Solemnar's return is related to what we are doing here.
And in the legends of your people, was there any weakness or vulnerability that this monster exhibited? A weapon that could be used against it?
I wish I knew. I've been going through my mind this entire adventure, and it's probably why I've just seemed so confused, because there's a lot. But I think some of it's coming together. I mean,
Maybe we're the
do you
weapons.
feel like... What?
Us?
What, Widdle?
Maybe we're the weapons. If you have this feeling that we need to come back with you, that feeling is coming from somewhere. Maybe that's our destiny.
For you to come with me to the
You
Forever
see-
Reach.
Perhaps.
The Raven Queen walks up to you, Thellora, which again, where she was a head taller than Widdle, she's 2 heads smaller than you. But looks up
Nora
at
still
you
sort of prostrates herself. She prostrates a little bit.
She says, I realize this must have been difficult for you. Plucked from your lands into Sigil, a city of wonders, but also many strange and amazing things, and then tossed about across space and time. I can't imagine what you've seen. You've been very brave. You have made your people proud.
Thank you, I hope so.
You all...
My job is to return, and I will.
Well, we know you make it at least a bit further, right? All of you have been very brave. Uriah, you are muted, good sir. I believe you're about to say something.
Oh, I was just, well, very nice of you to say that. Yes, I was just making sounds like, yes.
And you see, she looks off in the distance, in the thunder rumbles, and she says, I will protect you for as long as I can. It won't be long now before you are swept away, but I feel like you all haven't had any time to collect yourselves. So perhaps you could rest, reconnect, discuss amongst yourselves before you face whatever lay ahead.
But wait, what if we need to contact you again? Can we do that, or no?
She just turns and looks at Uriah and she says, I'm never far away.
I have a spell for that.
Oh.
But she does look at you and she says, I'm sorry that your, all of you, your strength is not always what you expect. There is a cost of extracting you from the dread domains.
Yes.
But I'm sure you don't doubt paying it for your freedom, at least for the time being.
No, perhaps it would be more useful to have full access to Azalin and Farran's Alhonan's abilities, but I'm quite grateful that they're only occasionally showing up instead of being fused with them. That's much more preferable to me.
You see, she does sort of move a strand of your hair aside, and she says, for what it's worth, this is my favorite manifestation as well. So, before I bid you adieu, anything else from your Raven Queen?
Thank you, my lady.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for watching over us.
Thank all of you for watching over everyone everywhere. In a shower of black feathers, she's just gone.
Never get used to that.
No, I suppose not.
I wish I could do that in like awkward social situations.
Right? So useful.
It is.
It's at this point that a familiar skeletal figure shimmers into view over Uriah's shoulder. Ah, the Raven Queen.
No, this guy again.
Indeed. Lord of Barovia.
Hey, how's it going?
Hmm.
That was kind of threatening.
Ah, not at all. Merely a greeting from a fellow ruler. I understand you have recently entered into a foolish bargain.
Yep. Actually, you might be the right person or entity. No.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, it's clear that you are very good at picking trustworthy advisors. I commend you, Lady Gnome.
I think Widdle was just gonna shoot Nahara a message.
Hey, Widdle, you got another hand, man. You get one black palm, like, put it there.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, right.
You get a bargain, and you get a bargain.
Start a bidding war for your soul.
Uriah actually is like, Widdle, really, he is not, well, he is much like Asmodeus, lawful, but certainly not interested in justice or mercy. Quiet, boy, can't you see I'm doing business with a fellow ruler? Well, technically, I believe I am the current king of Darkon, and you are the former. No, we are co-regents, I believe. That's not the way I understood. Widdle, I really don't advise any dealing with this individual.
If
I'm not going to ask.
If you need a reference, I can tell you, I've got a lot of work experience with this one.
Indeed.
It doesn't sound like you have very good references.
And also, Aslan, do you have beef with every Lord of Barovia, or just ours from our timeline?
Oh, not at all. As
That
I
was my first
understand
concern.
it, in her own reality, in her own Barovia, Widdle must be responsible for the destruction of von Zarovich. Is that not true?
That is indeed true.
Is this an enemy of my enemy thing?
How did yours die?
Gloriously.
Gloriously. I would have preferred humiliatingly, but I suppose I'll take it.
Widdle, there is something that I want you to remember that I will send you. So continue to talk amongst yourselves while I send a note here.
And you, good centaur.
I don't know you, but every now and again you do appear over his shoulder, and I was wondering if at some point we would make each other's acquaintance. And Thellora sort of reaches out her hand.
Delighted. I find myself lacking a physical form, but perhaps Uriah will lend me his. I think that stage of our relationship is quite over, thank you. In any case, I bid thee welcome. Clearly you are from beyond the worlds I know.
Maybe one day you can make a visit.
Is that an invitation to your world, then?
Thellora sees Nahara's eyes like widen. Something we can discuss in the future. Which one of you is married to Nahara?
That would be the whelp. Yes, quite happily married, if you don't mind.
Are you a package deal?
I am sadly tied to this wretch.
And I just want to make it very clear, I am only married to Uriah, not the other two.
Yes, we were married, and then the fusion happened. So it's not like she got married to 3 people. She was married to me, and then the other 2 came along later.
What are the other 2? I know you, and I know you.
You have seen him briefly as Firad Zalhonen materializes over the other shoulder. Looks very much like Uriah, but a slightly older version and more wealthily dressed. It's like, yes, I've been here the entire time as well. But hello, Thellora, is it? Delighted. And Widdle, yes, and Nahara, of course, always a pleasure. Yes.
Hello, Uncle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically that was a ruse, but in any case, there are some others hanging around Uriah. Currently, we are free, and I would like to keep it that way. I would too. I certainly have no intention of returning to Darkon and that state of affairs. But we did promise the Raven Queen we... Look, that's a matter for later. For right now, we should gather our strength and see if we can turn our thoughts to solving the current problem. The current problem is this Manshoon. He has my admiration, for clearly we are cut from the same cloth.
And what
Like,
cloth is that?
why, the cloth of the Archmage. And he is clearly fond of using clones as well. And yet, I would not see another, not even a brother mage, grasp the brass ring that Aslan failed to win for himself. I have no desire to be a lackey to some other Archmage ruling the universe. I would see him destroyed as much as you would. Yes. And Faran Zalhonen says, yeah, then perhaps we have an accord. But then, once he's dealt with, we will talk. And Darkon is not a desired destination by me either. And the two of them fade from view. I am very sorry about that. They show up whenever they want to, really.
They
these
show up
days.
whenever they want?
It's very
Yes.
annoying.
Hey, Nahara, I've been meaning to ask you this. Were you like particularly close with Strahd?
That's
a
very complicated.
complicated
Actually, it's not complicated at all. I was to marry his brother, and
You know what
You-
what
well,
he
you-
was. He was a stalker, plain and simple. That's what he
Yes.
was.
did not
Yeah, he's
understand
really toxic.
boundaries.
Yeah,
Extreme-
really entitled. But then he killed his brother, right? That's what I heard.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good that you didn't have to go through with the marriage.
No, I wanted to.
Oh, you wanted to.
What happened to him then? What happened to the brother?
Not to Strahd. I was to marry
Oh.
his brother.
The brother.
His name was Sergei. It was before we met. It was long before we met.
It was.
So,
I was
I-
literally
I-
a different person.
yes.
It was a
Oh.
different lifetime. Oh,
Wait, you're
don't
the
know if
same
you-
person. But you're
I
a
don't know
different
if you know this about me. Oh goodness. This would probably explain a lot. I live a lot of lives. Like I don't really die. And so in this
You're immortal?
iteration, sort of, in this iteration of my life, I literally, my first memory is just falling to the earth. And I'd completely forgotten anything about my other lives. And Uriah was actually the first person I encountered.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
quite a meet cute, but that's how it happened.
There were things trying to kill us.
There were
but,
things trying to kill us constantly.
Nahara,
Very traumatizing.
Nahara, this might not be the best time, but with the other two gone momentarily, I have to know. There's been... In Darkon, when Firan, Aslan, and I are one, every night, the being that we become, let's call him Uriah Rex, every night he asks you a question, whether you stay in Darkon of your own will. And of course, he can't know if you're answering truthfully, because Aslan's power is to control all undead within Darkon's borders. But I'm asking you now,
Uriah,
Do
I
you-
don't stay in Darkon because of some pact or... I stay there because of you. My home is not Darkon, my home is with you. And I'll go wherever you go. Always.
I don't know if I will remember this when the three of us are rejoined, when I'm him again. But But the part of me that is me inside, I will remember. And
That's all I care about. That's all that matters to me.
thank you. Thellora, Widdle, I'm sorry. We have more pressing matters, I suppose, but I had to know. And Nahara, thank you
For what, my love?
for everything. There must be some dust in the air.
Little hands Uriah a clean it or tissue.
Oh, thank you.
You have one for me too. Take one of those. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't mean to break up this moment. I was kind of curious, Uriah. Are your friends coming back?
Currently, they seem to be confined within the crown of Darkon. I mean, I know it looks like my old hat now, but that's just a glamour. They emerge when they want to, but, well, for better or for worse, we don't have access to their powers, though
We
an
don't.
archmage and an archlich might come in very handy right about now.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, they don't exactly seem like the most affable types, but
Oh,
I mean,
Uncle Ferran's okay. He's all right. He's very, he's kind of even Steven, watch the balance,
All right.
hold that,
Yeah.
and then Aslan, I don't, no, he's not. No to Aslan. No.
but they don't like the idea of Manchu having so much power either. So they're basically on our side. So
Yes,
I mean-
though they are somewhat, shall we say, rendered impotent at the moment. They're phantasms and nothing more. I don't mean in that way. I mean in terms of spellcasting and whatnot.
Oh.
Though I
Right.
assume the other also applies. Not having a physical body. And, I'd like to talk about something else.
All right, so like this man Shun, he obviously likes clones, right? And you know me, I like a good bargain, but I want to talk to you all first before I offer this to him. So I was in Ravenloft for 1,000 years, right? I made many clones.
Really?
Many clones.
you look good.
Well, thank you.
I as mentioned, I'm a clone myself, so
So one clone takes about a month to finish. I can make 10 a month.
Really?
And I was in Ravenloft for 1,000 years, so it's like, I don't know.
is that all
100,000
you did was make?
I made a lot of clones. No, I killed a lot of adventurers, and I drained their blood, and I funneled it into these vats, and I made
Wait a
clones that looked like the adventurers.
Maybe you,
Is that what happened to us?
Maybe you have more in common with Aslan than you thought.
You know what? I've killed a lot of adventurers, and I don't remember what all of them look like. But it's if you were there trying to kill me, it's possible. But
Oh,
I don't think you'd want to kill me.
They were trying to kill you. I suppose that's somewhat different. But yes.
So Manshoon likes clones.
Mhm.
What if I offer him a clone army in exchange for the Fatebreaker? You think he'd be interested in that?
Well, even a clone army pales in comparison to the ability to undo. all
Yeah.
of the
Why would you
defeats.
choose that?
It just sounds like he really likes clones.
Nahara's like
Well,
off to
now-
the side by herself, like having this existential crisis of like, where are all those? How do I know I'm not one right now?
But now,
Am I a clone?
now, speaking as someone who was cloned, it's not necessary. Genetics are not fate necessarily. We was talking about fate and Fatebreaker and all that. But okay, now here's the thing: the Manshoon that we've been dealing with, at least as far as we know, is a clone himself. It's very odd that he would want to save the original Manshoon, given that he is now the last existing clone. Why would he want to return the original? Couldn't he maybe I'm speaking from my own perspective, but forge his own path and his own fate? Why would he want the progenitor back?
Does he not know that he's a clone?
Well, he must, because he realizes that the original Manshoon is dead. Unless it's some sort of programming he's unable to overcome. In any
so
case,
let's look at your story then, Uriah. Like,
yes.
why do your clones attach to you instead of going off on their own?
I should clear up a misconception. I'm not the originator. Well, Aslan, much like Manshoon, was a powerful archmage who utilized a number of clones in various schemes. In his case, they were almost all in some way related to him trying to escape from the domains of dread. I am one of his last existing clones anyway, but I did not share any of his, shall we say, inclinations. I was raised much as any other person would be. The source of my birth is cloning, but I had a childhood. I was raised by a family. I didn't even know that I originated from Aslan until, well, relatively recently. And so in Manshoon's case, it's possible that, like Aslan, he created clones, but his clones were strictly contingency plans. And
do you think possible that clone is trying to escape something?
I wonder if I could reason with him. I mean, we have a lot in common. Both clones of archmages, though in his case he clearly followed in the professional footsteps of his originator. Yes, an archmage himself, or at least a wielder of mighty magics. I don't know why he wouldn't simply... It's possible that he's evil, but why does he want to serve the will of the former Manshoon? It doesn't seem to be in his own self-interest.
Are we 100% sure that he wants to, and this isn't some elaborate ruse to make him think that he follows him and to make us think that he follows him, and he has some deeper plan to, like, do worse things to... Maybe that's where it all culminates.
As I say, it's possible that the clone doesn't have any choice, and this desire to serve the wants and needs of the original Manshoon are part of his being, an intrinsic part.
Oh my... This is a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Widdle, that deal you made... Do you think he plans to honor it? Or...
I think he plans to honor it because he's lawful, but I think he's going to twist it in some way that's going to work against me and everybody in all of time and space.
Yes. I mean, devils, of course, as mentioned, follow the letter of the agreement. But if I asked for a devil, I said, well, I'll give you something, my soul, for example, but then you must make me a sandwich. The devil would probably just turn me into a sandwich.
Or the turkey would be dry.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're probably all going to become dried turkey sandwiches.
I don't want to become a dried turkey sandwich or a BLT or an Italian hoagie anytime soon.
I don't either.
No, none of them are good options. I mean, they're good sandwiches, but not if you are the sandwich. I'm hungry.
I have one more question for you, Uriah. One more.
Yes.
Did the beings that hell within you, do you think they have the power to be evil, be truly evil, if they have their hands on the Fatebreaker?
Oh, yes, without question. Aslan getting a hold of the Fatebreaker would be as bad or worse than Manshoon having it. We cannot, under any circumstances,
This
allow
is
him
not an option.
Faranz Alhonen, well, I mean, he's a nice enough fellow and he's polite, and I mean, we have a good relationship, but I mean, when you get right down to it, he's kind of amoral. It's sort of like what's best for me. And I mean, I don't want to be stereotypical, but he's kind of very stereotypically the neutral guy. What's in it for me, sort of thing. So yes.
Oh, so he views you as the errant son, but if you got in his way, you might be stepped on.
It's possible. I don't know if he honestly could resist the temptation to use that power. He's not particularly happy with the current situation that we're in, for example. He doesn't really like being fused into one Gestalt being that then rules Darkon and is tormented by sadness for all eternity. No, I shouldered that burden somewhat willingly. He was a bit more grudging, and Aslan didn't want to do that at all. So, yes, I don't think we can count on either of them.
Well, do you think that you could actually resist temptation of using the Fatebreaker for your own good? For your own interest?
I certainly, if I had any choice in the matter, I would not want to go back to Darkon. But I have to. It will disintegrate unless there's a ruler, unless someone is on the throne. And at least I can be a guiding influence on Uriah Rex. And now that I know that Nahara's not being kept there against her will, I mean, that was my major objection to the entire thing. I'm willing to accept my fate if it keeps others safe. And if we were able to get our hands on it, I mean, the first thing I would think to do is to turn it over to the Raven Queen. She is my goddess, after all, in her aspect of Ezra. What would you do with it, Widdle?
So, a long time ago, I got my hands on the Book of Vile Darkness. And...
What is that? Fill me in, please. And for those of us that might be listening in and don't know.
It's a very bad book.
It's a very powerful, very dark book.
I mean, it's a well-written book, but it's very bad. Evil.
All right.
It's what saved me from being killed by Tiamat once. But it tempted me. And I worry about myself because, like your friend you were talking about, Uriah, I'm kind of a neutral person, and I really struggle with trying to save my friends, but also, I like to make money. What's in it for me? So I am
so sorry if I
take no offense to that.
When it's making generalizations about people who are neutral, I am so
That's all right.
sorry.
That's totally fine. I understand. I wrote a couple of pages in the Book of Vile Darkness.
What?
And then I turned it over. Because of that, I don't know what I would do if I got my hands on the Fatebreaker. I would really want to destroy it. Or possibly hand it over to you so you can give it to the Raven Queen. But I know I'm not good with temptation.
You do seem a little impulsive.
Have you picked up on that?
I no offense intended at all, but just a little impulsive.
I don't really like to think things through before I do it. I just like to do it and then figure it out.
I mean,
Well, I appreciate your candor.
Endearing. It's a very endearing quality, but it does, I'm sure, must land you in quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean, one time it actually worked out quite well for me because I stuffed a bunch of undead bodies with alchemist fire, and I attacked Castle Ravenloft because I thought Strahd was the vampire responsible for my friend disappearing.
How'd that go?
Well,
Strahd was really surprised.
I bet.
And
well, I mean, you were protecting your friend or family member or friend, correct? So, I mean, your actions...
The intentions were there. Your heart was in the right place.
well, thank you.
All right.
Still,
I do still have one. It's not beating, but it's in there.
Same.
Maybe Widdle don't get the Fatebreaker because you might be tempted, and we wouldn't want that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let's say like I'm the only one in the room with it.
What would it be? Are you
And like
asking what?
I had to
Oh.
be the one to pick it up. So that like
Are,
no one
are
else
you
can get
going?
it.
Couldn't we like mage hand pick this thing up?
Does
So
anyone
none of
have
us are.
one?
I do.
Does anyone take me?
I do. And
Okay.
to be honest, I have absolutely no desire to ever change my fate because my fate led me to Uriah, and I don't know if I would have changed anything.
It's lovely.
Uriah,
worry-
I've
Oh, go ahead.
asked you something here. Sorry, please continue, Thellora.
No, I was just saying that I am. You know what I wonder about this Fatebreaker is that none of us have actually. I mean, at least what I know, none of us have actually touched the thing.
Not
Like,
yet.
does-
No.
No.
Does this thing have like this draw? Like, is it something that you know what it is and you know its power, but you don't really behold it until it's in your grasp?
It's theoretically possible. I mean, there's many powerful artifacts that are sentient and have their own, a force that can overwhelm the personality of the wielder. Given the sheer power of this thing, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that that's the case. And Widdle, I have to know, how exactly did you become the Dark Lord of Barovia?
I'm so glad you asked.
Hmm? Yes?
So
Good question. Good question.
Okay.
It's like a screen rolls down behind Widdle with a PowerPoint. Like,
I don't know any of you mofos.
So a couple of things happened. A long time ago, my friends and I were in a battle with Strahd. And he thought that he could escape Ravenloft and go to the prime material plane by possessing this Warforged, a dear friend of mine named Rend. And I think there was a magic gem in his chest that Strahd was inhabiting. And my friends and I destroyed it, and Strahd along with it. There was also another fight with Asmodeus. And he trapped my friend Freely in a cave for I don't even know how many years it was. Just torturing him. And we couldn't do anything about it. And so the only thing that I could think of was to sacrifice myself, knowing that Strahd was gone and Ravenloft needed a new lord. I made a bargain with the Dark Powers to save Freely from being tortured for millennia in this cave with Asmodeus. And I also may have dropped a Tarrasque on Asmodeus, but that's another story.
Well, I mean, you've certainly overcome powerful foes before. Strahd really the pales before Asmodeus. And wait, are you telling me the Tarrasque is real as well?
They are. Yeah.
Is everything I've ever read about real?
What else have you read about?
All kinds of things. Oh, the implications are.
What's the thing that scares you the most, that you have never seen or witnessed before, that you have read about?
Well, all right. I must admit, I come from a rather, some would say, frightening place. It's filled with undead and lycanthropes, and, well, up to this moment, I would say that learning... We get the occasional fiend in Ravenloft, but to learn that the Nine Hells are actually a physical place that you can go to and visit. I mean, there are some advantages to not being able to leave Ravenloft. You know, one doesn't go to the Abyss and the Nine Hells and that sort of thing. And so, the scariest thing that I've ever read about? Are you telling me the Smurfs are real?
What?
They're little blue creatures. They're 3 apples high.
Exact second, Widdle, before you have the opportunity to answer whether or not Smurfs are real, that whitish blue light engulfs all of you again. Like mid-sentence, and send you plummeting. Perhaps Gargamel is the true power behind all of this. But a shriek of hissing wind hits you like a hammer blow. You stand in a broken, rocky landscape, misshapen stone spires rising from fractured ground as far as you can see. But you can't see far. Through the temporal storm where it rages all around you, pulsing sheets of blue-white light fight against rolling shadow, making it impossible to tell whether it's night or day. But then a brief respite reveals a glimpse of a bloody red sky above you.
That's not promising. Any idea where we are now? Has anyone seen this realm before?
The wind changes suddenly, reversing its course like the flow of the storm is suddenly going backwards in time.
Whoa.
Through the blue-white lightning continues to flare and flow, the dust storm vanishes. And clear above you, a grotesquely swollen crimson sun seems to fill half the yellow-orange sky. Fissures of black shadow spread across the sun's surface, their dimensions incomprehensible, but their visible movement suggesting the speed at which the great star is consuming itself. And a couple of things happen. Widdle, in your pocket, the orrery chimes up cheerfully. Warning! Planetary death imminent. Time's end. Danger. Danger. Danger.
Is this storm gonna like slip us into another timeline? Because if it is, I hope it does it soon.
I certainly hope so. We seem to be, according to that, at the end of time itself.
Yes.
What happens after time ends? I don't think
I don't know.
we should be around to find out.
I think it's
But aren't we supposed to be here?
incomprehensible.
Yes,
Why
I
are we
mean,
supposed to be at the end of time?
This is where the storm guided you. Again, Uriah, I apologize. I had to ask you something else there. But the storm has brought you to this place, a place that is about to be destroyed.
Well, we're here for a reason. There must be a good one. 1 moment, please. It's at this point that Azalin Rex once more fades into view. Yes. This place. This world was once a cautionary tale throughout the many worlds. A true horror story about the potential costs of magic and consumption. In aeons past, this was a vibrant world of life. But over time, all life, resources, and magic here were exploited utterly, leaving behind the dying husk of a world whose name has long been forgotten throughout the multiverse. With the last plants and animals having been scoured from this world millennia ago, their sun is now nearing its death and will consume all that remains. Perhaps I'm not the only one who's soon to be without a physical body, eh? Then we'll see how much fun it is, huh? Away with you! Well, thank you, Aslan, for that. We don't have much time then, I suppose, quite literally. How long does it take a sun to consume a planet? Probably not long at all.
By the looks of it, not long.
I
Yes.
fell asleep through that part of class.
Right. So, once proud civilization, hubris, destruction, that sort of thing. What is the Dungeon Master? What is the environment like? Sort of hot. I assume very hot with this giant sun.
Yes, it is a very arid desert. Like there is absolutely nothing alive. It is like the ground has been sandblasted all around you. But you do see off in the distance a mesa, but it begins to flicker, like it is shifting back in time through an endless cycle of days and nights. And although the landscape around it shifts, also becoming like marshes and greens and greenery, and you actually see living things again that come back. And to the southwest, the landscape expands, shatters, and withdraws again, revealing in reverse time great cities rising from ruins and then collapsing back to nothing. And the crimson sun overhead begins to shrink, accelerated by going back in time thousands, millions of years, growing brighter and brighter, and then being replaced again by this current sun, gross and bleeding, the last of its energy.
When we do spot living things in this time shifting, what do they look like? What sort of beings are they?
It all moves so quickly, it's hard to say. It's like you catch glimpses of birds and animals. And again, there is a city of some sort, but you don't see clearly what is in there.
Like, how far away would you say?
That depends how far away it is, because it is difficult to say, but you all have managed to move through time itself before at least once.
Perhaps if we focus again, as we did before, we concentrate on a memory.
Could I just try casting locate object to see if this thing is even here?
If what is
Like
there?
the
Fatebreaker?
The Fatebreaker.
Yes, you absolutely can.
So I just take the few minutes that I need to figure out if it's here.
Okay. Yeah, there's no sort of save or anything. It's just sort of like it is or it isn't, right?
Yeah, if it's like 100, it's in like 1,000 feet. If this city is like within 1,000 feet of us.
It is not currently within 1,000 feet, but you could get within 1,000 feet of it.
Okay.
If you were to do as Uriah suggested, which
Okay.
if you want to, you once again give me Arcana or Insight or Religion.
Okie dokie.
I love that it's insight.
Yes, same. 37.
That you are very insightly. Like, it must be hard to be married to someone who can insight for 37.
Well,
Difficult to plan a surprise party.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Also a 37.
Wow.
Oh.
Love it.
You can finish each other's sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Oh.
Yeah. And Widdle and Thellora.
22.
Excellent.
And I get 25.
Ooh.
You have all passed this time, which is excellent. Again, make a note of that because we are trying to keep track of it. The blurred landscape, as you move through time, again, blurring in a swirl of activity here. And the blurred landscape suddenly locks into place again as your movement stops on the very edge of a vast crater, a crumbling cliff beneath your feet, marking a sheer drop of a quarter mile or more to a broad rocky floor below. And I need deck saves from all of you as everything begins to break right as you arrive.
Not
Oh
Dex.
my goodness.
Okay. Deck save. So
28.
28.
plus.
Of course, the one with wings is fairly dexterous.
19.
It checks.
Okay.
For 20, but dirty.
Dirty 20.
That's a big old 13 on the die with no bonuses. And I don't have any bonuses, so 13.
Excellent. You all run, and it is like Uriah slides to a stop. What was Thellora? Sorry.
20, but dirty.
And what was Widdle's? Sorry.
19.
Widdle slides right to the edge. Uriah comes, bumps right into Widdle, and the two of them go plummeting off the side of this cliff here.
Can I hold on, spider climb? Can I spider climb and hold on to Uriah?
Can I just fly down and try to grab
You start trying to fly down, and you realize there are gale force winds blowing you around. And good news, bad news. Normally, this would have been a distance to which you would have almost certainly fallen to your death, but the wind actually begins to somewhat break your fall, and the two of you only take 37 points of damage. 20d6 was reduced to 10d6, and then I rolled very poorly. As you sort of like down to the bottom of this canyon floor.
Very good.
Uriah, you okay?
Oh, yes, I'm a little injured, but I can help with that. Here, would you like some healing?
Oh, yeah, yes, please.
Of course. Yes. Here we are.
Just pops her rib back in.
That was 37 points of damage.
37.
Widdle is back up to full health.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And you notice that Uriah, actually, the halo around him just seems to be regenerating him. So he actually regenerates between like 1d6 hit points per round. So he's not going to waste a spell slot on himself. He'll just let that heal up.
Scratches and bruises just sort of like coming back around here. Important point of clarification. Nahara can fly, but it is 2,000 feet down. How is Thellora going to get down?
I know exactly. Thelora's sort of standing at the edge of this thing looking down, and she's like, has her sword hoisted, and she's like, are all of you all right? Can you hear me? Wait, I saw Nahara go.
Cannot, because she's a half mile away. It is very windy. But yes, you saw Nahara dive trying to catch Uriah.
Okay. Thellora has this item that she is very proud of, but she doesn't use it often because it was given to her by an ancestor. And it's only like she's not supposed to utilize it, but she.
One quick second, Thellora. One quick second. Before you do this, before this happens, give me a perception check.
Oh, I have advantage, but let's see. Not good. One more time. 13.
You get the distinct impression that you are being watched up here. But as you look around, the only thing you can see is rocks that have been so heated. They're actually like burning, like red embers on the ground. You don't see anything alive. You were told nothing is alive, and yet something is watching you.
Uriah told me nothing is here. Hello? 1 second, you all. I'll be down there. I just have to check on something.
Yeah, you guys have
I
no
know
idea
you're
what's going
here.
on up here.
I know you're here.
2,000 feet of hurricane winds. You do, hold on 1 second here. As you say, I know you're here, you hear, and one of the rocks kind of sizzles and crackles.
Make yourself known.
And a pair of two little red eyes appear, but immediately squint down like they're kind of angry. And you hear again.
I've asked you nicely. Have you seen my sword? I'm not scared to use it. Come out and face your fate.
Out of the rocks, a small creature begins to form. You tell me what Lumi looks like.
Okay. Out of the embers of this hot, fiery place, if you can imagine, I mean, basically a tiny My Little Pony that looks like it's been forged from fire.
Legally distinct.
Just leaps out. Grrr. And its hair's little tiny licks and embers of fire.
And
The Lord just looks at it.
And just like sizzles, like the sound of like if you'd thrown a piece of meat onto hot rock, but she sort of like vibrates. Again, she's about the size of a house cat, and you're literally bigger than a horse. But she's just squared up against you.
Oh, cute. Thellora puts her sword away and sort of bends down a little bit and says, "Have you lost your mother? A little thing? I'm not familiar with you, you and your kind."
She comes hopping towards you, but it's like she hops on all four legs at the same time. But like gets right up and just stares straight up at you. And just like bonks you in the ankle with her head.
Oh. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't expect to find something like you in a place like this, but I feel like you've lost your way. You here alone are not going to be safe. You don't look like you're, I guess, equipped for any sort of battle. You might be hungry. I would introduce you to my friends, but I think you might be more of a hindrance to have you with us. I wouldn't be who I was if I left you here. Are you alone? For some reason, Thellora can actually understand what this creature's growls and hisses. They start to form words in her head.
It just sounds like the crackling of a forest fire, but yes, you do indeed understand. What is she trying to tell you?
She's like, I was looking for you. My name is Lumi. I'm strong too. I can fight against monsters. I'm all by myself. I think and Thellora is realizing that Lumi is speaking primordial. And it's at that moment that Thellora realizes that she spent so much time around, she spent so much time around an active volcano. So no, not an active volcano, a dormant volcano, that she's learned primordial. And she says, "Oh, your name is Lumi. That's adorable. But again, you're a long way from home. I guess if your home is here." And Lumi tells her that her home is here, but that she's alone and that she's here to fight for her land. And Thellora says, "I actually think I know where you'd be of service and where you can be used and where your strength and bravery would be much appreciated. Would you like to join my people? That way you're not here, wherever this is. By the way, where are we? Do you know?" Does she know, DM?
She's never seen another living thing, so it's just like, this is just kind of how it is out here. Yeah.
Somehow you've managed to become a being out of fire or lava, I guess. I won't leave you here. I'm going to send you back to my people. Hold on." And Thellora, before she closes her eyes, you notice that the gold eye starts to glow, and she closes her eyes and she starts speaking under her breath. And she's calling on her god, and she can't do this very often, to spare this creature and to take her back to the Forever Reach. And she opens her eyes and looks at Lumi and says, "All right, I will see you soon. You'll be safe. In fact, we will all see you soon." And with that, Lumi just hisses and crackles again, and she disappears in like this little fiery embers. She's a familiar.
Excellent.
Yay!
Give it up for Lumi. Excellent. But that in and of itself does not solve the problem of how Thellora gonna get down this 2,000-foot cliff.
Oh gosh, this is why we love B. Dave, because he allows us to have magical items that are magical. So
That is true.
It makes my pyro
What
heart
if I-
happy.
yes.
You can't have a legally distinct angry little fire pony, then why even we're playing this game?
Yes.
Yep.
So one thing that Thellora does not have, even though she's like this majestic horse-like creature, she does not have the ability to fly, but she loves wings because, horses, unicorns, Pegasus, they're all sort of cousins in this realm, Feyroom, Feywild. She's all of a sudden on Thellora's large, furry hoofed feet appear these boots that have tiny wings on them. Because Thellora's always had winged boots. But they're
Cute.
cowboy boots. They look like cowboy boots.
Pulling it
Winged
off.
cowboy boots on centaur hooves. All right, this seems legit. I got this.
Yes.
We love
And
to
these
see
winged boots start to flap. And she's never used them before. So she tries to launch herself off the edge of the platform, but it's really, if you can imagine, it's just really clumsy. And she ends up like sort of toppling, going, whoa, whoa.
Oh,
It's like a
no.
horse
Yeah.
on roller skates. And as you make your way down, you all see that this vast cliff wall crater must run more than 50 miles from east to west and more than twice that distance north to south. And away from the eastern edge, the sheer cliffs taper lower, but are still 1,000 feet or more high in every direction. And as the storm continues to swarm around you, you all catch out of the corner of your eye like it is something moving in it, something moving very, very quickly. In Uriah, you become almost overwhelmed by the presence of undeath.
All of you see Uriah's, the pupils of Uriah's eyes, his sort of pinpoint pupils turn into tiny black skulls as he's looking in the distance like, we might have a bit of a problem. As Aslan said, there's nothing living left on this planet, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's free of undead.
And when you say that, the storm begins to part over the valley in front of you, and you see not just dozens, not just hundreds, but thousands and thousands of undead. Skeletons, zombies, wights, ghouls, floating ghosts, shadows, and specters, and they are all facing to the north. And that is a good place for us to take a little break here. So we're gonna do our quick
Man.
10. It's fine. It's just thousands of undead. It's
Fine.
Yeah, fine. That's normally that's Tuesday, but today it's Monday. So we're gonna do a quick 10. Don't go nowheres. But guess what? Guess what, everybody? I remembered to say. Wait. After the break. Dang it.
After break.
I'm gonna try so hard. But yeah, but you can find out the thing that I'm supposed to tell you. And statistically speaking, I'm going to forget to in 10 minutes. So don't go nowheres. Quick 10, and we will be right back. So that is 2,000 attacks. So statistically speaking, you each take 150 natural 20s. And oh, hang on, wait, I forgot something first. Before all of this, I have to. Oh no, it's fine. I said I wouldn't forget. Beadle and Grimm's drawing. They might have already put it in chat, but I said it out loud. And let me see what you good people are actually have a chance to win here today, because that's important. $25 gift card to beadleandgrims.com. Also, our good friends over at Beadle and Grimm have their Kickstarter went live today for their board game, which honestly, the name eludes me because I'm juggling a lot of things right now, but I did remember the homies Kickstarter is live. So go to Beadle and Grimm's on Twitter. I'm sure they might have mentioned it there. And there's a drawing, which is probably happening in chat, but it made it to episode 4, and I did say out loud that it's happening. So yay me. Anyway, back to these undead killing
Good
all
job.
y'all. You see thousands of undead, and they are all looking the other direction. And all of you give me perception checks.
Uh-oh. A new
Boy.
dice. Let's see what happens.
Also important, did we gain a long rest
during the little
did.
thing? Okay, cool.
Good.
When I'm on your way here, US. So whatever you've used here has been used, but
Cool.
before
Okay. All right.
that,
So we're good.
29 for me.
29,
That's
22 again for me.
22,
28 for Uriah.
28. Widdle.
16 for Widdle.
I'll still give this to you, Widdle, because the rest of them have radar ears. It's difficult to make out at first over the wind of not just the storm, but just blowing through the cannon here that is, again, just sandblasting everything and making it hard to see and hear. But the undead are all saying something. And they're not particularly yelling, but there's so many of them that you absolutely can make it out. And I cannot whisper dramatically because it's going to get noise gated. They're all just saying water over and over again. Water, water, water.
I think they're thirsty.
Ooh.
What?
The undead.
It is
Dude.
hot in here.
Do you mean thirsty in that way?
They just keep saying water.
Oh, well, yes, they in the regular.
Not
way.
Not like thirst trap. Like,
Hmm.
like out quench. Like
Yes.
they're dehydrated. Maybe they're looking for a water source.
Well, it's possible that most of the inhabitants of this place died of thirst. The sun growing hotter and hotter, and it's so horrible to think of an entire planet being extinguished, all begging for water as they went. There doesn't
we
seem
think-
to be.
They should have listened to their environmental activists.
They should have, yes.
They thought it was a myth.
One thing does occur to me. If there's no water left on this entire planet and no other living things, then the only water around here is probably in our bodies.
What? What about our rations? Don't we have rations?
Well, I've got a water skin. I
Well-
mean, it's my old one, so it hasn't.
When
been
you
fixed.
hold up that water skin and shake it around, they all rotate and look at you.
Um,
And they-
I throw the water
should we
skin-
disguise ourselves to look like undead?
Well, I'm
Oh.
technically undead already.
Look,
which
more
must-
undead, like
What
them.
I
makes-
mean, the two
I
of
will
Ghouls.
you.
send you all.
Darling, do you still have that? Did you remember that?
Yes.
At one stage, you lent me.
Yes. We've been here before. You are going to need
Water,
this.
and they
And-
start coming forward.
Nahara.
Nahara takes out her holy symbol of Ravenkind and hands it to Uriah.
Water, water,
You're going to
How-
need that.
How close are they?
water. How close do you need them to be?
Far
I
away.
believe- well, for what I'm thinking, they have to be within 60 feet. Are they that? They're not that close.
I
are
mean,
they?
you can let them get within 60 feet. I mean, they're just shambling. They're not like, actually, I take that back because it's voted on by the good people of Idle Champions. Not only
Yes.
were they undead in the storm, but they're actually really fast.
Oh,
so they're like,
Oh,
like coming towards you very quickly.
Like
Just
World
a
War
wall
Z
of-
fast
Yeah,
zombies.
Oh,
exactly. That is exactly
Would anybody
what-
like to be invisible?
I think they need to see me
No.
for this. I would
Not
quite like to be
you.
invisible.
I mean, if anybody else would like to be invisible.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But also, can I mislead B-Dave and like run into the horde?
I don't know that you're gonna mislead thousands of them.
I can cast invisibility on anybody who would like it.
I would
Yeah.
very much.
Although
She's tiny, maybe. She's little. little.
little.
yes, Uriah.
When I threw my water skin away, I mean, I don't have a great strength, but he threw it away as far away. Are they tracking that, or are they coming towards us?
Because of the canyon walls, it's hard to say. Like they just are like,
All right. Uriah will sort of step forward, stand in front of everyone else, and he's got the holy symbol of Ravenkind. And I assume he's still attuned to it due to the special circumstances.
indeed.
Okay. Uriah is basically just biding his time until they get within the 60 feet radius.
It doesn't take long. They are very fast.
All right, well, this is it, everyone. I love you all. It's been nice getting to know you. I guess
that's
I
very
guess this is
nice.
it.
That's very
Can
nice of
I
you, Widdle.
can I form of dread and then can I cast anything before shit happens?
They're very fast. I think Uriah's going to have one shot at this. And then, statistically speaking, several crits are coming down range here. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So can I or no?
No.
No. Okay.
Very well. My plan is, because we want to try to affect as many of them as possible, and this is somewhat more risky, don't just do it when the first ones hit 60 feet. Let them get within that. Let them get within like 10 feet, and then everything that's within 60 feet will be affected by this turn.
Perfect.
Okay.
It's like when a corpse is out in the high desert and just the sun is just removed all moisture and desiccation. These undead don't even smell bad. It is just they're worn husks of people and very much get within 60 feet, Uriah. And what would you like
Right.
to do?
When they do, Uriah raises the holy symbol of Ravenkind and says, in as authoritative a voice as he can manage, "Back to your rest! To your rest! Go! Go in the name of Ezra! Go in the name of the Raven Queen!" And now it's up to them in their save versus his turn, which is pretty good. And because of the holy symbol of Ravenkind, they are going to be at disadvantage.
What's the number they need to beat for your turn, undead?
Well, given the fact that I have read from the book and whatnot, they are at they have to make a save DC of 20, and they're at disadvantage. And, of course, Uriah's 17th level, so certain CRs will be in trouble.
They actually would have made it with a natural 20, but because they have disadvantage, it is now a 6. So tell me, and that means they are all CR4 or less. So you tell me what happens, Uriah, as this oncoming wave of death is coming towards you.
Okay, so as Uriah raises, so they're all CR4 or less, then they are obliterated by the power of the Raven Queen and the holy symbol of Ravenkind. They are blasted to dust and to less, but Uriah is not a wrathful sort. So they actually, in the moments before their death, their horrible thirst is actually slaked, and they sort of crumble peacefully rather than screaming and being destroyed. But it is everything, if there's thousands of them, it's probably hundreds at a time. So Uriah is like, "Back to your rest! To your rest!"
And you all see this again as these oncoming hordes just start to evaporate and descend, all right there in front of you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Widdle just peers out from behind her arm shield. Are we dead?
Not yet.
Nahara, who is like right behind Uriah, like whispers in his ears, like, "I knew you could do it," and kisses him on the cheek.
So I'm assuming with the numbers that we're talking, it's probably going to take several rounds of basically them just running into the meat grinder or the wood chipper. Yeah.
They're so fast though that it is
Wood chipped
So-
peacefully.
So Uriah actually is probably then just like coated in a copious layer of corpse dust. That it's like.
Don't inhale that. Don't get that in your mouth.
No.
Brother Uriah, so Thellora just sort of gallops up to where Uriah is and said, I didn't think it was right for all of us to allow you to face all of those beings alone, but what is that thing that you procured? What is that?
Well, it's Nahara's really. It's
I was gifted the holy symbol of Ravenkind, and it's really saved us on a few occasions.
including this one.
Yes.
I
Very
felt
helpful against undead.
My connection to Ezra, of course, makes turning the undead possible. But I felt it they would have managed to overcome it if not for this. Thank you. You're the one who really saved
you,
us all,
Nahara.
Nahara.
What's mine is yours. It was not me.
Well, that was terrifying. I need to could you prestidigitate this?
Oh, yes,
it's,
go- right.
It's in everything. It you know how sand gets everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Believe
It's
I do
everywhere.
have that. Yeah.
That grittiness in your mouth. And
Well,
that's
yeah.
all. Just like, yeah, right.
I
Was
do
it the
just
grit-
dust all
there's-
that off.
There's grittiness in all the places.
Oh no.
Prestidigitation. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Oh,
You all make your way now through what is a clear pathway. You realize you are on the shore of what once must have been a lake bed, and you see probably the last thing that you would ever expect to see parked out here. It's a wagon, like a touring wagon, with the black pits written on big letters on the side of it.
Wait, I've been there before.
you have?
In the Black Pits? Yeah.
Is it in the abyss somewhere?
I believe it is.
What's a touring wagon doing here? Is this where people vacation?
I don't know, but don't even think of hitching it to me. I'm not a beast of burden.
Oh, perish the
Oh,
thought.
no.
We would never
Anyway,
dream of it,
that was
Thellora.
never. Oh, no.
No.
Very odd. It's not so much of a vacation wagon. It's almost like something that might be used by a traveling entertainer.
And when you say the word entertainer, it echoes on the cliff walls out.
Oh,
And
no.
you get a response immediately. What happens?
The door to the wagon flies open. Did someone say entertainer?
Oh, hey,
Yes.
Baloth!
As standing before all of you is a drow, long flowing white hair, glowing red eyes, a large grin filled with gleaming white teeth, his purple skin iridescent in the sun, wearing typical drowish sort of black clothing, though none of it contains any sort of spider or web motif. His cape is long and it is tattered, but you can tell it's sort of been purposely tattered just to look cooler, and it is blowing and billowing in a wind that isn't actually blowing on anyone else.
Nahara.
He also is holding in his hand, some of you might recognize it. It is a staff that is sort of made from a human spine, with a large skull at the top. The eyes of the staff are glowing a bright green, and around it sort of has like the hip bones used as a collar around the skull. Entertainer! Why, that's my last name. My middle name is The. So, good to see you. I am, of course, Baloth the Entertainer, purveyor of the most gruesome gladiatorial combat the Underdark has to offer. Not the Abyss, Widdle, please. Though I visited, and it is a lovely place.
Baloth, we had met before. You defeated me in a friendly competition.
Indeed, where I became the champion of the realm.
That's right.
But-
It's been a while.
Yes, then again, my victories are so numerous I sometimes lose track. Nahara, was it? Yes.
Yes.
A fantastic performance you gave. As I recall, you did sign a contract to appear at the Black Pits at the after party.
I did, didn't I? Wow, that seems like forever ago.
Nahara, who exactly is this?
This is Baloth the Entertainer. In a strange, you know how like we jump times on occasion, and it's strange.
Yes. Rise and take us away.
One time, I found myself in the middle of this tournament, this competition, where it was a friendly battle to sort of death, but no one really died.
But Baloth actually was the reigning champion. I was second.
Suffice it to say, I destroyed all competition before me, including the lovely Nahara, I am so sorry to say.
But he was a formidable foe.
Indeed. Though I must admit, I have never beheld such a champion as this, he says, indicating Thellora. You clearly are a warrior of great renown. I can tell by those muscly arms.
What? Forgive me, but what, pray tell, are you?
Oh,
What?
I, my dear, am an impresario. As I mentioned, a purveyor of gladiatorial combat. Always on the lookout for new talent, and I have an eye for it. You are clearly a formidable foe, and I would love to see you compete in my gladiatorial entertainment, the Black Pits. It's not this wagon, you understand. I have an entire outfit down in the Underdark in Faerun. Would you care to sign a contract? It immediately just rolls down.
I just gotta say real quick, chat just reminded me that I was playing Esmeralda, not Nahara in that. So let's go back.
Who's
it's
all of that.
You've had a lot of lives, Nahara. We never identified
we
them
could
all.
say that I was at one point Esmeralda in a previous life.
Apparently you were now.
I am
there's
now.
been a lot of Naharas, there's been a lot of Esmeraldas.
Yeah, that's right.
That
well,
is
as
true.
Baloth said,
Esmeralda.
his victories are so
Esmeralda
numerous,
knows.
you can't keep track.
You know, I feel in my head immediately, I went to maybe Esmeralda just told you about it while you were drinking, and it's been so long, you just have told the story so many times you thought it was yours, and Baloth has never seen this woman in his life, but he's got to go with the gag.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, of course, that is exactly what happened.
Sure.
Yeah.
Indeed. So tell me, Thellora, are you interested in competing against fellow warriors and monsters of the multiverse for prize money?
Thellora turns to Nahara because she thinks Nahara knows this person, and she's like, "Oh, does this person regularly do this sort of travel to different dimensions with traveling circuses or whatever? Is this something that's normal? Are we supposed to do this?"
I don't know him that well, but it seems like that's his thing.
Oh, Widdle can vouch for me. Widdle's association with my entertainment has proven very beneficial to her. Wouldn't you say, Widdle?
Absolutely. You see, Thellora, this scroll here, I won from participating in the Black Pits. It's very, very beneficial to sign that contract.
And as I recall, there was a blunderbuss that found its way into your hands.
There sure was. Yes. I still have
Yes. As I say, fabulous prizes, not just cash, but the greatest prize of all is, of course, the fame and renown that goes with being associated with me. Baloth the Entertainer, Baloth Baratil to my friends.
Thellora looks confused, but she's intrigued as well, because after all, I did come here to fight something.
Oh,
So-
excellent. Yes, I can certainly provide you with all manner of battles. I scour the multiverse looking for interesting monsters and occasionally stumble across a new champion to fight them. So just know that your comprehension of the contract is not required for you to sign it. Here we are.
Wait a minute. I just had a thought.
Oh, you don't have an agent, do you?
I don't know what an agent is unless you mean an agent of something.
Fantastic! No, let's keep it that way, shall we?
I have a question for you. Are you who you say you are? Or are you some sort of an illusion or figment?
Oh, no figment nor phantasm. I am the 100% original Baloth the Entertainer. Excuse me, quiet, son. The adults are talking. Now then, all three of you seem to have fantastic potential. He's completely ignoring Uriah. I was just wondering. No, that's fine. We're talking now. I have contracts for each of you. Widdle, would you like to re-up?
Yeah, sure, why not? Wait, I should read this first, right?
No,
Yeah.
don't bother. It's an infernal anyway. My lawyers are the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe in Avernus.
we cheat them and how? Wow. Where are they from?
They're from Avernus. That's where they're
Is it a reputable firm?
Oh, very reputable. You can be assured.
I am going to have my agent read this, and she gives it to Azel and Rex.
You know what? I'm gonna actually show this.
You're bringing Aslan into this?
I am bringing Aslan into this. Like, Aslan, this looks pretty sus. I mean, you already my patron, and we have already like this understanding. How trustworthy is this? I mean, I have some sort of weird memory of being this, but not as I was, not as I am now.
Aslan does materialize. He says, first of all, my dear, you had no contact with this creature at all. 'Twas Esmeralda who fought against him. Yes. Furthermore, this thing is a being of chaos and not to be trusted. Oh, who's this killjoy? Let me guess, someone lawful. Perhaps I do follow the path of law. Yes. Well, I am not one to discriminate. Perhaps you'd care to sign up. Who is this again? Who am I? I am Aslan.
How dare you?
I'm just seeing how many characters we could throw at Mark at this point.
I'm that guy who was trapped in the domains of dread for eternity. Silence you! Ferran Zalhonen appears. It's like, well, I'm finding this rather amusing. Oh, you got two ghosts with you? And tell me.
They're a traveling band.
He leads into Nahara. What's with the stiff? He's pointing over at Uriah. Maybe you ought to think about ditching him.
Excuse me, that stiff is my husband, and he's no stiff at all.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Don't even say it, Pete.
Doesn't Baloth
Look.
Baloth is allowed to make that joke, too.
Look, first of all, I am nothing if not a paragon of virtue and family entertainment.
No.
I perish the thought of anything else. I was just going to ask, doesn't Baloth have over a 20 in charisma?
He does.
To break 20?
I believe he has a 22, yeah.
So Baloth is actually super hot, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just physical appearance, but the sheer force of my personality, you understand. But I am sorry, I had no idea you were taken, dear lady, and I certainly didn't mean to cast any aspersions on your spouse. My condolences on hearing that he's not a stiff at all.
I will not even dignify that with a response.
From Uriah here, now see here. And Aslan says, very well, you wished me to look at a contract, did you? As your patron, of course, I could do no less. And so he can't hold the contract, so Nahara will have to hold it up for him.
While Aslan is reading the contract, does Widdle try and sign hers?
I think Widdle wants to show it to Uriah.
Uriah does read Infernal, so he can actually take it. So both Uriah and Aslan are looking it over, and they're both sort of like tut-tutting at it in their own various ways. Like Aslan's like, it says here you sign away your merchandising rights. That's the sweetest plum.
Maybe I can renegotiate.
Meanwhile, Uriah is just like, well, it does say that you may be required to commit acts of murder in the pit if the crowd calls for it, and that doesn't bother you, Widdle? I see. Let's see. As Aslan mentioned, your merchandising rights would be there's nothing there for the merchandising. Oh, you all also contracted to do meet and greets after every performance with the public, and yes, and you don't get any of the autograph money. It all goes back to the Black Pits. You do receive. It does say here that you do receive magic items of commensurate value to your performance, and yes, you will receive lots of money. But really, I think you should get to keep some of the autograph money. This contract, it is, I must admit, skillfully written. The law firm of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe in Avernus has my compliments. else. But this odious creature. Odious, please! Aslan, I'm sure we could work something out. I like to apologize for that crack about the domains of dread earlier. Listen, if you ever get a physical form and the ability to affect the real world again, we would love to have someone of your obvious spellcasting power. And Baloth does have a 22 charisma, so even Aslan is like, well, all right, well, maybe we could talk.
No harm in talking.
No harm in talking, I suppose. But in the meantime, let's deal with those who have a physical form. Widdle, Nahara, Thellora, would you care to sign a contract for appearance of the Black Pits? It won't need to be immediate if you have other things to deal with, but I think that our mutual cooperation could be very beneficial.
If we don't die, maybe.
Uriah, what do you think about this? None of this sounds... it all sounds sus to me.
Yes, very sus indeed. I personally would not enter into a contract with such an individual as this.
I read Infernal. What is this thing about AI likeness and...
Yes, that I didn't understand at all. I thought it was like
He's got unlimited simulacrum rights.
Yes, I didn't understand that. I read it as license. The use of I'm not sure what it means. All right. Listen. I'm willing to negotiate, and others have in the past. Maybe a little slice of the merch, maybe a few less meet and greets afterwards. That sort of thing is negotiable. But wouldn't you like to appear in the Black Pits?
At that second, you hear another voice come from the wagon of someone you haven't seen yet. Baloth. There's something cataclysmically terrible about to happen.
Oh, yes, please, Najim, join us.
And what does Najim look like?
He is the very model of a djinn, a large, muscular, blue skin. He, of course, at the waist, he tapers down into smoke.
Forgot about him.
Yes. Large earring vest. He has a pair of huge scimitars. And Najim in particular, because he works with Baloth, has a very, very world-weary expression on his face.
Hello, I'm sure you all are fantastic, but Baloth, I've become aware of an unstable rift in this planet. Why did you want to open a franchise on a dead world anyway? You said it would all be beachfront, but how can you have a beach when there's no water, Baloth?
Well, I have to be honest, Najim. I was thinking of branching out. Who knows what sort of undead horrors a dead world might produce? I was thinking that it might be an interesting challenge. And more than that, undead need entertainment too. Not all of them are unsentient. Some of them are quite intelligent and could use a distraction. But from what we discovered, the only thing anyone here thinks about is water.
And contracts.
Over and whispers something in your ear and points up at the storm overhead, and then it's just like,
oh, I think we might have to be on our way. I certainly wish you well in your endeavors, ladies, and you too, friend. Sorry about the stiffness. What do you mean about that? Never mind. Tell me.
It's not normally my nature to be helpful willingly. But I should mention to you, I would steer clear of any magical spells or incantations. I believe they may have some unintended consequences in the next.
No, magic?
Oh.
Well, see here, how could
we can't use
that's my bread and butter.
I consume neither bread nor butter, and normally I would not necessarily warn Baloth either, but I have a vested interest in his survival because my soul is bound to him.
Yes, I'm actually his curse. It's a long story. Anyhow, I
he
think.
is, in fact, my curse.
Oh,
Should
you
we
make a
be on
lovely
our way?
couple.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
We do
Hey,
not. That is.
Baloth.
I should have just let you die in the storm. And Najim just turns and floats back towards the wagon.
Well, Najim, are we on our way then?
With haste, Baloth.
Very well. We'll need you to sign those contracts right away before we depart.
Yeah, Baloth, really quick. I will agree to all the terms of the contract. I'd also be open to a residency at the Black Pits to be a permanent performer. But I need your help with something. I need you to get me out of a contract with
What contract might that be?
the devil himself. Have you ever heard of Asmodeus?
Yes, I've heard of Asmodeus.
Well, we have a little contract, and I need you to break it for me. And I'm all yours.
Well, I mean, I do know some of the best lawyers in the Nine Hells, but so does he, and I think he pulls a little more weight down there than I do. I'm not sure what I could do, but then again, if I thought that way, I would never have taken possession of the Wand of Baloth, as he holds up what some might recognize as the Wand of Orcus. Like, I'll look into it if I can.
You know, it would be much appreciated, and I think you do need to give yourself more credit.
Well, just sign on the
I think you're
dotted
capable
line.
of doing this. Not
Just
yet.
sign on the. Well, what? You want me
You
to
gotta
get
break the
order
contract first.
Oh boy. Well, I
I
guess I'll
love
see what
the
I can do.
idea that Baloth needs to give himself more credit. Yeah.
Very well. Thellora, Nahara, we'll just need your signatures there on the dotted line, and I can be on my way.
All right. And Dolores takes his the contract and looks at it and says, as long as my cohorts plan on signing this ringmaster man, I will sign your contract. And she takes it with the contract and literally stabs her sword in the middle of it and pushes it towards you with a hoof print, like right in the middle of it. And she says, but know this. If there's anything untoward in this contract, I'm not beholden to it, but I will take your head and march through it throughout my city with it on the end of my sword like a cake pot.
Oh!
Feel scarred. You will hurt.
It's exactly those sort of bloodthirsty threats that are going to make you a darling of the stage and a true champion of the ring. This hoofprint is legally binding.
Could I do a sleight of hand to see if I could just put in to be renegotiated later before I sign it?
You can, and even as you reach out and begin to try and modify the contract, a strange swirl comes up on you again as the wind of the storm comes, and right in front of you, the contract just falls to ash, and Baloth also reverse and falls away. The cart begins to fall away. The sun begins wheeling backwards in the sky again, and the earth altering on its axis as you all see a swirl of things moving past you. The walls of the crater fly past you and show ruins off in the distance, wrapped in a storm and a wall of lightning and driving wind, as a citadel erupts out of the ground of the rust-colored landscape, and you can see creatures moving about it. Dragons, hundreds of dragons flying around. They're all uniformly pale, but their color is hard to make out in the blue-white flare of the storm and the sun blazing yellow-orange overhead. When you realize that the dragon's scintillating silver-gray forms are channeling the storm's light. These are time dragons. The flow of temporal magic following them as they move in shimmering and rainbow-hued scales of their branched horns. And as you follow around them, they are suddenly immobile in front of you. There is a courtyard or something beneath you, but the courtyard and the sky are frozen. The vision begins to blur and then boil away. Blue-white lightning shimmering above you and then drawing down around a building on the far side of the courtyard. A dome structure shaped of stone inscribed with delicate filigree is set with a single arched doorway. Lightning wrapped the building in a tight white web.
Hey, ladies.
Citadel dragged away to nothing, the dome appearing in isolation against a jumble of stone ruins. From somewhere, a bell rings out, its echo manifesting as metallic ripples in the air. And even as the force of the storm drags you forward, you suddenly slam to a stop, suspended at the center of an arched doorway. And with a pulse of blue-white light, another doorway appears before you, then another, then an endless series of arches seemingly spawning from each other and crashing in towards you. And you see a flash of strange images, not just of this place, but almost as another time, of another life. You see yourself standing on the shore of a verdant lake. A group of adult time dragons allow a very small wormling, not much bigger than a calf of a horse, allowed to frolic in the water and chase each other through the stands of trees. You see a small face pop up out of the water and just shake, and they say, I will travel in time into different worlds, but I don't want to. I want to stay. Please let me stay. And one of the older dragons looks over and says, Eonsterix, we've talked about this. You must go and pursue your studies. There will be time to play later. And when they say that, everything swirls and spins again, and now you see a great classroom, large enough for now much, much larger dragons to be sitting on tiered stone benches, sitting, listening, as a gargantuan dragon is sitting in the middle. In the familiar, somehow you know that one of these older dragons is that same small one you saw mere moments ago, Eonsterix, now excitingly talking about theories of time and space and the multiverse. And he speaks up and says, well, with what we know of the multiverse, if the extents of the space and time are boundless, then any world we can hypothesize must surely exist. But then I simply hypothesize a world that has no connection to any world, and so we have a world that is both within the multiverse and without it at the same time. Tell me, my esteemed master, what does your calculus of reality say to that? And you see a very tired-looking time dragon pushes a pair of large spectacles back up on his nose and say, Eonsterix, you are uniquely foolish for a time dragon, and woe that you would have the time to realize the error of your ways. I could spend the eternity that we clearly have and not tell you all the reasons that you were wrong about this, then everything swirls again. And you see a huge battle of a ship being pummeled out in space by asteroids as a now fully grown Eonsterix flies through and picks the ship up in his claws and flies it safely out of there and looks up at the stars and says, whatever my teachers had to say, they have no idea. So many worlds I have seen, filled with peoples and their stories. Tell me, humans, tell me yours. And you see the crew of the ship cowering underneath this dragon, and you see a young woman at that point that just looks up and says, I'm Captain Carstairs, and this is the Light Fantastic. Thank you for helping us. And as the dragon smiles, everything twists and turns one last time. And you see an ancient time dragon held suspended within a field of magical force at the center of a vast chamber. You recognize the space of glass columns and expansive workstations as the laboratory of the Emperor Colseer, the giant that you recently faced. You recognize the time dragon as Eonsterix, at the apex of his age and power, so large that he would not be able to fit in most rooms, but of course for the giants, he is caged as easily as you would an animal. And you hear their scream of absolute agony cutting through like a blade. You see the giant mages put a ring around the dragon, pouring raw eldritch energy into the field, which begins to glow gold-white as the dragon's own power is drawn forth from them. As you watch Jonsteric's form begin to shimmer and shrink, caught in a maelstrom of time magic that makes them younger moment by moment. In a heartbeat, they are an adult, the complex pattern of their horns shrinking and simplifying, and then a young dragon struggling frantically, then a wormling crying out, a child's voice shrieking in fear, the same child's voice that many of you have heard over the course of your adventures. And then a burst of lightning turns the vision blue-white, and a shimmering silvery dragon egg hangs at the center of space. And then within that same great dome you saw before, with the rows of seats that the dragons once used as a seat of learning, that scene is a destructive battle. Strange creatures, seemingly shaped out of living metal, engage in a full-on assault against the familiar figures of Manshoon and his Marut bodyguard. The chamber features a floor of white sand over black marble and dozens of raised pillars. Each has a concave top holding more sand and a single dragon egg. The pillars are seemingly out of phase with the reality of the battle, though, the combatants passing harmlessly through them. And that includes one pillar on which an egg has just hatched, a wormling, time frozen, in the act of emerging from their cracked shell. Manshoon turns and looks at you. Fools. If it's death you seek, there are easier ways to find it. The wormling is mine. I will see their first moments with the knowledge of my power and the reality that we will shape together. I will complete the circle that ties Fatebreaker to its source of ultimate power. And when I am done, your end will be nigh. And as he says this, those strange constructs look and say, "Stand your ground, intruders. This mission belongs to the real Mani. This just-born wormling will become the source of Fatebreaker's power millennia from now, creating a tool that will shatter the balance of the cosmos and the multiverse. We will change the future at its root. The wormling will be destroyed." And Manshoon simply says, "Will you allow this innocent creature to die? So be it." And with that, I need you all to roll initiative.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh man. I have advantage.
To be clear, Manshoon wants to save the dragon because it's going to become Fatebreaker one day, and the robots want to kill it.
Oh my
To
God.
preserve order, yes.
To preserve order.
I got a whopping 8.
Whopping 8.
A whopping 14.
All right, Thellora 14.
Dirty 20 for Widdle.
Widdle dirty 20.
17 for Uriah.
17 for Uriah. Big old Manshoon with the nat 20.
Oh,
How
man.
dare you?
It's-
Boo.
I told you, you have no chance against me.
Man.
Luckily enough, the robots only go on a 7, so even Nahara is going to go faster than them. Manshoon turns and looks at you, and he says, "I'm on a bit of a time crunch. Tell me, am I going to have to destroy you, or can I assume that you don't want to see this poor, innocent creature die here and now?"
I will not allow an innocent to die. But sir, we have much in common and should speak. But yes, for now it seems that I am on your side. I will help save the dragon.
Excellent. And he turns, oh wow, with another natural 20. You see,
Nice.
turns, and you just see pure power come out of his hands, go towards these robots. A spell that none of you recognize as they begin melting, but as you see, he sort of grunts and his hand begins to sort of wither also. And he stops and looks at it and says, "What is this?"
We were warned that magic might not be a good idea right now. I'm sorry, as an archmage, that's probably quite disappointing too.
However, Widdle, it is your turn. Again, to be clear, the robots are trying to kill this little baby dragon that has just hatched.
So you can still use magic, right? It just damages you?
As voted on by the players of Idle Champions, yes, when you use magic, it will damage you.
Not me side-eyeing people who voted for that. Widdle is going to cast Wall of Force to create a dome around this dragon to protect it.
Excellent. What level of spell is Wall of Force?
It is, give me one moment, please. It is a level 5.
As you do feel this storm energy like it is erupting through you, and it does 18 points of force damage. But you are able to put the Wall of Force around it.
Well, it's what I can do for now. Uriah, maybe later on you can do what you did before and pop this rib back in place. That I think when we cast spells here, like Manshoon, it injures us. So I don't know how many more spells I have in me.
Yes, of course, but if I heal you, it will also damage.
Oh, crap.
Okay, we'll
All
look it out.
We'll put a pin in that.
Anything else from Widdle?
Nope, that's it.
Uriah, it is your turn.
Okay, interesting. These Maroots, they are magical constructs, right?
The Maroot is here with Manshoon. It's the same Maroot that you saw in the prison that shot its arms out. These are something different. These are a word that is hard to say out loud. They are real money, a couple of different kinds of real money, which they are a force that exists, purely exists to bring balance. That's the only thing they want. And it said this dragon is going to become Fatebreaker, and that is why we will kill it.
Right. Okay. So, they are, however, are magical, are they not?
Correct. Yes. There's 3 of them.
Okay.
Wait, actually, hang on. Let me verify that I think there's 3 of them. There's 4 of them. Sorry. One is physically bigger than the other 3, and that's the one that is talking and said it would destroy the dragon or hatchling.
Cool, but they are magical things, yeah?
Yes, they are magical things.
Okay, and using magic is bad. How many of them can I get in a 10-foot radius around me?
All of them.
Then I'm going to try some magic that hopefully... Well, I can take up the hill. I'll have to take the hit. Anti-magic field. So I separate myself from the others, from the rest of the party, and just cast anti-magic field. So that is a 10-foot radius around me, which is completely divorced from magical energy that suffuses the multiverse. So it's just magic items become mundane, and they're basically enchanted items, these guys.
I am going to give them a save, though. What's your normal save DC against a different spell?
20.
That is... One of them got... Well, the 3 smaller ones got a 1, which is great. And what kind of... I guess I don't know. We'll call it a wisdom save, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
The main one just sort of like... Well, they all just sort of like stop, like marionettes that have had their strings cut. And Manshoon turns and looks and says, more capable than the last time I saw you.
Oh, when was that exactly?
I think you're going to find out.
A moment of your time, since we may speak, I hope. We find ourselves momentary allies.
He's like, momentarily, yes.
As I said, sir, I think you and I have a fair bit in common. You're a clone of an archmage, is that correct?
Yes.
As am I. But you are your own individual. You are the master of your own fate. There's no need for you to be tied to the plans of your originator. You can make your own life and your own decisions. It's not too late to break the cycle. I am evidence of that.
You see the Marut, which has this just singular eyeball on top with this spinning disc, like it like rotates the one big eye, looks down at Manshoon. And he sort of turns his head for a second and he says, "Yes, clone. You were able to break away from the will of your maker because the will of your maker was imperfect. What Manshoon wished for was great and noble. He was brought low by betrayal. He made mistakes that I myself will not make. I do not follow in his footsteps out of obligation. I follow in his footsteps out of inspiration."
I see. What was Manshoon's goal then?
Probably not so different than your Aslan Rex. I'm aware of who and what you are, Uriah. He wants to rule. The difference is, as your Aslan failed, and my maker failed, I will succeed. I already have.
And when you rule, what will your will be? For good or for ill?
I think we both know you're going to find out. And Thellora, it is your turn. You see up there the dragon is kind of coming in and out of focus as it is slipping in and out of time.
Yes, but he's sort of being semi-protected by Widdle's little bubble of protection, right?
Actually, the wall of force is around.
Yeah, the wall of force is
Oh,
to
it got
protect
knocked.
the
It got
dragon.
completely knocked.
It's around the dragon.
To protect the baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I. Okay, that's what I meant. So Laura's just looking around because she's like, is this an anti-magic field or is it like a silence bubble or something?
Uriah moved away from you, so right now Thellora is unaffected.
Yeah, I've basically got how many of these?
All four of them. You have currently incapacitated.
Okay, so if we use any magic toward them, it's going to come back to us like threefold or twofold or something like that.
It will basically damage you when you cast a spell.
Okay, so my other question
I
is...
guess we didn't resolve that actually, Uriah. I apologize.
Yes.
What level's anti-magic?
I figured I'd...
Go ahead, yeah.
What level's anti-magic field?
I believe that is 6th level. Hold on, let me just... no, sorry, 5th level.
Excellent. Same thing. Although I rolled low, you got that going for you. Only 11 points of force damage, Uriah. A lot of ones. A lot of ones. It's just like the raw power of the magic sort of reverberates and rins against you. Yes, sorry, Thellora.
Okay, so now I kind of figure. So my other question is it magic that I would use, or is it magic? Would it matter if I was able? If I cast a spell at all, even if I'm channeling divine energy to cast a spell?
Yep.
Darn it.
He's a cleric.
Okay.
He's only channeling divine energy to cast spells.
Oh, man, I know.
Don't blame me. Blame the good people of Idle Champions who voted for
gosh. Okay, so then I'm gonna have to. Then she's gonna have to swing her sword at it. At the thing, the thing that's floating with that's looking at us. So I'll have to swing at that one then. And she's just gonna move toward it. Pardon?
At one of the robots?
Yeah, the one that looks the rudest. That's the one she will always swing at. So
Perfect.
she just marches
Swing
toward
at
it.
the rude
And
boy.
pardon?
I said swing at the rude boy. Yep.
Yes, and she says, Vel sing die, which means strength and honor. I don't need spells, but my sword is mightier. And the first attack, I already did one because the paladins have a lot of math. So the first one was 26 to hit, and this was with a branding smite.
That is enough to hit. You're going to use branding smite?
Oh, but if I use, that's a spell, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Okay, so then I have to take the 3d8 off. So hold on. Okay, well then that's...
Give me the attacks first, and you can give me the damage second, because you can add it up while find out what Nahara is going to do.
Because it's at this point it's just going to be two hits. So the first one was 26, but the second one was.
Actually, I will give you advantage on both of those because it's currently incapacitated.
Okay, cool. So the first one doesn't need advantage. The second one, I rolled an 18.
Still roll the advantage because you might get a crit out of it. Like you won't lose anything, but it might become a 20.
That's true. Well, 30. All right.
I think that's good.
Yeah, the second one is 23, or
that is also
23 or
going
17.
to be a hit. Just just give me the damage when you have it, and Nahara.
Okay.
Nahara will, as a bonus action, take on her form of dread. And she could take a hit. So I'm definitely going to cast. So you said that there was 3 constructs, and then the one that was like a main.
Yeah, it's kind of one main one and 3 drones.
Okay.
All 4 of which are currently in the anti-magic field. Although if you try and cast a spell into the anti-magic field, it will get anti-magic.
So there's.
I've got to put to sleep
within,
right now.
So they're all within the magic field.
You got all 4 of them.
That kind of messes up what I wanted to do if my magic is not going to work within that. So I guess I'm going to have to go in with let's see.
It's been a while since Nahara's used the 30 style boxing, actually.
I know. I think I'm going to have to go in with
wing slap.
Wing slap.
You do have no.
I have a crossbow.
I was gonna say the sunblade won't function in there. I was about to say, yeah.
Nope.
I have the sun sword, but the sun sword will just be a sword.
Yeah.
So I will. I guess attack with a crossbow.
Perfect. Roll it. Thellora, do you have that damage?
I had 29.
29. Excellent. But yeah,
that's
can't smite in there, unfortunately. Yeah.
So it's an 18 to hit.
Did you roll with advantage?
Me?
Yeah,
oh no.
Same thing. It's incapacitated. So yeah, you can roll with advantage.
Ooh, nat 20.
There you go.
For 30 points.
Maximum.
So
30 points of damage.
No, 30 was the roll to hit was a natural 20. And so what do you do? That you double the damage, or do you do the max double dice? Okay.
Double the dice.
Okay, so the first one is 9 points, and then 5 points, so 14.
Perfect.
Piercing damage.
Just like jams in this thing's eye, you see its head snaps back as it's just kind of still standing there, powered down. And while you're doing this, Widdle, you see the dragon starts to move and looks around for a moment, and its blinking gaze flits around the chamber, and then it settles on you. Across the distance of the temple floor and through millennia of circular time, you feel Eonsteric's mind and spirit touch your own. More than telepathy, more than a thought or an image. You feel every moment of the wormling's life stretched out. Every point of love and pain, yearning and triumph, beauty and fear. And then all that time, all that life flows through you like a wave. A temporal bond through which you have known this creature and their entire life. This moment of contact feeding forwards and backwards in time. And at that exact second, everything stops, Widdle. Manshoon stops, your friends stop, the wind stops, the storm, everything. And you hear his voice. Well, isn't this quite something? As Asmodeus appears in front of you.
Hey, sorry, you caught me off guard there. I wasn't expecting to see you. What are you doing here?
No one ever does. You were having such a beautiful moment there with this thing. To be clear, you know it's going to be responsible for untold destruction and chaos, and you still want to let it live?
This is the Asterisk. And it's precious. And I know that I said I wanted the Fatebreaker before. But we need to protect it.
Oh.
And I know that doesn't mean anything to you, Asmodeus. I have a question for you. Because the last time that we talked, I asked you for two things.
Hmm.
And I know you're lawful. Were you
Go
only planning
on.
on giving me the first thing? Where I asked if I could leave Ravenloft? Or were you actually going to give me the Fatebreaker? And twist it in your own way?
You know, Widdle, I believe that delightful drow said something about making deals with me. And he was quite right. I always do what I say I will do. And you see he motions his arm in this long sleeve of that robe he wears, the royal purple. He swirls it over where Eonsterix is, and it is gone. And Asmodeus holds his hand up, and he's got Fatebreaker. Can't say I didn't uphold my end of the deal, and he hands it out to you.
And Widdle takes this tiny dragon in her
No,
hand and holds it close.
Not the dragon, the box. Fatebreaker.
Oh,
The black box covered in gold runes. The dragon is gone, and he has the box and reaches out to give it to you. In the
she takes it.
do you take it? Yes, sorry, go ahead. Well, let me just say one thing when you touch it. The obsidian cube is warm to the touch. Its golden runes flaring brightly. In response to your touch, it rises in the air, rotating towards you and drawing down a pulse of lightning down, turning the world blue-white. But I believe Widdle was about to say something.
As Widdle takes this Fatebreaker, many memories come across her mind. Things that she would have wanted to change. People that she wanted to save. Not going to Ravenloft to have to save her friend Freely. Not having Freely suffer for thousands of years in the grips of Asmodeus in that cave. Not looking for the vampire that took her friend Rend, which led to her ultimate demise and becoming a Dhampir herself when she was attacked by a random vampire in Castle Ravenloft. But instead of succumbing to this temptation, she looks over at Uriah. Uriah, I need you to take this. You can't let me hold this.
And while you say this, Widdle, Asmodeus leans forward and says, "Oh, Widdle, no. He can't hear you. We won't be having any crisis of conscience just yet. This part was already written. The ink is dry. It's the next part that I think you have to concern yourself with. Oh, and good luck. I do mean that. If you die, you're not of any use to me just yet." And with that, you hear the sound of Eosterix, Widdle. Its cry rings out through the darkness and is an endless note of fear and pain. The voice you first remember from the darkness that brought you to Sigil, echoing the moment when the giants wound back Eosterix's life and forced them into the heart of the Fatebreaker, an artifact whose temporal power has a living source. But even as the dragon's voice fades, someone else speaks from within the void. Now you, my lords, ladies, lieges, you all look like people who know what time is money. So why not spend some money on a fine timepiece? A wonderful range of styles and options are available. Come and see. And there is a flash of light, and all of you see an enormous marketplace opens up around you, filled with stalls, carts, and shops, seemingly selling every product imaginable, a few that defy imagination. The multitudinous people of the multiverse are on display here, with worldly humanoids rubbing shoulders with extraplanar folk, alithids, fiends, and more. A dozen or more languages can be registered among the shouting merchants nearest to you, and a crowd of shoppers passing by. Common rings out most clearly. Beyond the market, a great city spreads out around you and above you, where the streets arc upwards in a curving course that ends at a sudden edge. You stand within some form of massive torus, easily more than a mile wide, its farthest extents vanishing beyond a sky that looks noontime bright, but holds no sun. And you see a red-haired halfling that says, "Now listen, friends, you look like folks who've experienced their fair share of adventure, and perhaps several other people share too. You've been doing a bit of hopping from world to world, eh? I thought so. There's a certain look in your eye. But as such, you know the importance of keeping one step ahead in the strangest circumstances, and I've got just what you need."
Wait! We've been here before. This has happened before. All of it. You.
I assure you, you have never seen anything like, and he pulls out, the heck's the name of the thing? The spinny thing. I'm thinking too much.
We have it.
The Ori?
Yes.
And
Ori. Sorry, I was unable to wear it all of a sudden. He's like, you can't possibly have seen this.
And then he points to, Uriah points to the one Widdle is holding. You mean like this?
That one?
Widdle holds up. She looks down at her hands, thinking that she's going to lift the Fatebreaker. Is she still holding the Fatebreaker?
You absolutely are holding the Fatebreaker, and all of you see that Widdle has it. And when that happens, the world changes. Time seems to slow suddenly. The marketplace around you resolves to fixed details, moving slowly somehow. A bell rings out in the distance, its echoes manifesting as metallic ripples in the air. Walking past you, a little goblin girl drops her ice cream cone, her mother quickly casting prestidigitation to clean it off. On the other side of you, a gang of unruly gift soldiers wander by, laughing loudly at an unheard joke. Then the gift, the goblin, the mother, the spiky-haired halfling, and every other creature around you looks up, wide eyes, as a figure has manifested above you, impossibly tall, floating in midair, long robes trailing beneath them. Their face unseen behind a mask set with a sweeping crown of razor-sharp spikes. The Lady of Pain has come.
We've got to save him. And B-Dave.
Yeah.
I've got some more damage coming my way. That was an 8th level spell I cast.
I'll sort it out momentarily.
Perfect. We've got to wait. We have to let him get sent to the labyrinth so that we can save him from the labyrinth. So we can't warn him yet, but I suppose we have to watch it happen.
The Lady of Pain points at the Fatebreaker.
Uh-oh.
And she looks at all of you and she just goes,
Is
Is
that yours?
It's hers, isn't it?
I think it belongs to her.
and the Ori begins beeping loudly. Warning, warning, converging time streams. Danger, temporal control must be reestablished. Danger, danger. And that is a good place for us to stop.
Oh, God. I'm sweating.
Seriously.
It's fine. You just got like timelines collapsing, and the Lady of Pain here just like chilling all over.
Wait, was
Yes.
isn't it the Raven Queen that we have to give the Fatebreaker back to?
That's who sent it, but it was stolen from the Lady of
It
Pain.
was stolen from
Yeah.
the Lady of Pain, yeah.
So we can
Yes.
give it
That's
to yeah, but
I'm just
but-
gonna hot potato it to Uriah next episode. Probably.
Yeah.
Just like yeet it. Throw it like a
It's your
touchdown
problem
pass.
now.
For those of you keeping score, there was one other thing that we didn't get to resolve there in the votes, but we're going to resolve it alongside the vision that Jang Sao
Yay.
was not present to have. But in the meantime, winners for these things. So let me tell you who won the episode 4 giveaway. I know that was a whirlwind of timey-wimey visions, but it was supposed to be. But you got the important part, that this dragon is basically trapped in an endless cycle of being used as a power source for this box. But Widdle got a friend out of the deal, and Asmodeus upheld his end of the deal, which I'm sure is not.
I'm sure the other shoe's not gonna drop.
Yeah, no, this is the last you heard of it,
Yeah,
right?
never.
Just out of the goodness of his heart, right?
Right.
But the winner of the Seas and Shores bundle is Auran. That is Aurran, in case I'm saying it wrong. Auran. The winner of the phenomenal Fatebreaker Factions collection is Sapalman. That is Sapalman, Sapalman. Use code ICB20 at dndmini.com for 20% off your next order, except for life-size and foam replicas and sale items. Thank you, WizKids. This expires on November 22nd. Again, all the winners, keep an eye on your whispers, because that's how they're going to get in touch with you to figure out how to send you what you won. And the episode 4 Beetle and Grimm giveaway winner that I absolutely remembered to tell you was going to happen, and
We saw.
Yeah.
We saw it.
that's all I have to say.
You
yeah,
did the
is
thing.
Bloody Moose. Bloody Moose. That's a great name.
That is
Bloody
a great
Moose.
name.
It is indeed.
$25 gift card for use at beetleandgrim.com. Special thanks to V, who is traveling, Jake, and Lauren, who is riding shotgun with us for producing there. Thank you to Jay for moderating. Thank you for Alicia, Mark, Meagan, and Noura for bringing your characters to Idle Champion Presents.
And thank you to B. Dave Walters!
Ah,
thank
stop.
you.
Is that- you know,
DM extraordinaire!
Just this once, I will take the thank you for remembering the one thing that I literally have written in big red letters every time. That every time we come back from the break, and I'm always trying to be like, you know. And but although Gina was unfortunately not able to join us today, Jang Sao is available to join your formation this Wednesday, November 8th. She will be live in Idle Champions at 12 p.m. Pacific. Again, log in to cast your votes for the finale, when this will all be set right or wrong or wronger, as you guys have gained access to the ability to rewrite history, and Manshoon does too. So I'm sure it's going to be fine. Shout out to Widdle for, at least in the short term, resisting the temptation. We will see. It's like Stimpy with the history
Thank you.
eraser.
Thank
button.
you. We'll have
Can
much
she
to talk
hold
about this
out?
next week.
Will she hold out? Yes. But in the meantime, we will see you next week for the finale, the conclusion of Idle Champions Presents Fatebreaker. We will get started at 10 a.m. Pacific, or in our case, 6 a.m. Greenwich Mean, next Monday, the 13th. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.